Given my lifelong love of Mary-Kate Olsen, it is shameful that it has taken me this long to watch Beastly. Was it worth the 13-year wait? Well, not necessarily, but it wasn't bad. This was released, of course, in 2011. It's directed by Daniel Barnz and written by Barnz, based on the novel by Alex Flynn. I haven't read the novel. I don't know how it compares. If you have any thoughts on that, please feel free to share. And this stars Alex Pettyfer as our protagonist Kyle. We also have Vanessa Hudgens as Lindy and Mary-Kate Olsen as Kendra. And this is basically a more contemporary version of Beauty and the Beast. Now, I really am not a fan of Beauty and the Beast in general, so that part of it I wasn't bothered about. But I will say that while the story didn't really interest me, the cast is brilliant. Alongside those mentioned, we also have Neil Patrick Harris, which is pretty awesome, but the makeup is just incredible. Also, Mary-Kate Olsen has the best costumes. Kendra, Mary-Kate Olsen's character, is actually a witch, and when she is basically being bullied and teased by Kyle, who is a not very pleasant high school student, to put it plainly, she decides to put a curse on him, and he transforms into this physical representation of his internal ugly personality. And he has a certain amount of time for somebody to fall in love with him, or he'll be like that forever. Classic Beauty and the Beast style story. And the way he looks is incredible. Now, I wouldn't say he looks ugly. I'd say he looks different. And there are certainly some scar-like aspects to the makeup on him, things that would be not considered beautiful by society, but I wouldn't say he was an ugly person, but he definitely isn't the classic symbol of beauty that he was beforehand. And I think the design of his appearance is so striking and so well done that whenever he was on screen, I just couldn't take my eyes away from him. I think they did an amazing job with the makeup for the character. As I said, Mary-Kate Olsen has some amazing costumes. Kendra's not in it a tremendous amount, but she's actually in it more than I expected, so I was quite happy with that. And she does have some amazing costumes, and she's so mesmerising, not just because I love Mary-Kate Olsen, but because the character just draws attention whenever she's on screen. She's the only character who can take the attention away from Kyle. Now, Kyle actually, in his new appearance, gets to spend time with Lindy, and he introduces himself under a false name, so Lindy doesn't realise that it's Kyle. And of course, as the narrative goes, there is this hope that they will fall in love and the spell will be broken. I don't want to say too much about what happens, but it works well enough. There are a few times when I felt like the narrative was trying too hard to be this multi-layered story. And yeah, there are different layers to it. But I feel like the bits that I was most interested in, it was just the story following Kyle and his experience. That's not to say the other aspects weren't well done, but as I said, there were some occasions when I felt like the film was trying a little too hard to throw too many things at the narrative, and it did occasionally take away from the main story in a way that wasn't interesting. But generally speaking, the narrative otherwise flows quite well, and Kyle as a character, I think it was very easy to warm to him. He clearly wasn't a very nice individual beforehand, hence the spell Kendra put on him. But I didn't take too long to actually shift that opinion, and not because I felt sorry for him, but because I genuinely feel like he quite quickly realised that this was a product of his own making. His own bad attitude caused this to happen, and I think he realised that quickly enough that it was easy to get behind the character and his journey, which I think was really important, because if he was unlikable for most of the film, it would have been really difficult to follow the story with any kind of emotion. So I think they did a pretty good job of it. All of that being said, it's still not my kind of film. I can praise it. There are a lot of good things about it. Some things that, as you know, the aforementioned aspects of the narrative were maybe not as good as the film thinks they are, but it's still not my kind of film. If Mary-Kate Olsen hadn't been in it, I wouldn't have ever watched this, I don't think. And I don't feel like I would have missed out. Sometimes there are films where I watch it purely because somebody's in it, and I'm so thankful that I had a reason to watch it because I thereafter love the film. That's not the case here. And that's not to say I didn't ever enjoy it, but I don't feel like my life has been enriched for having watched this film. But I feel like there's certainly an audience for it. And it's definitely going to appeal to some people more than others. But at the end of the day, apart from, as I said, certain aspects with the narrative, it's not too bad. The makeup is very good. The costumes, in particular for Kendra, are pretty awesome, and the performances are absolutely fine as well. If it sounds like your kind of film, I think it will appeal to you. If not, then if there's a reason you want to watch it, such as somebody in the cast, I'd say give it a go. It's not a bad film. I doubt I'd ever watch it again, but it certainly wasn't too bad. Maybe not worth the 13-year wait, but nevertheless, it's okay. It's certainly watchable, and I think for the right audience, it's probably a pretty good film.